to me, and she was trying to set up um, VS Code, and she had some issues, but she worked through it. So did anybody try? Did anybody actually attempt any of the things we gave? Oh, sorry. I'm saying Christina. I believe it's Rosalia. Let me check my phone. Oh my God. Let me see who reached out to me. It's Rosalia that reached out to me. Sorry. Sorry. So Rosalia tried. Who else tried? Nobody. Okay. Josephine says she did. Okay. Felix too. Okay. So I'm going to assume that you guys know a lot of the things. Okay. Christina tried but could not install. You reached out to me, right? My number is in the group. You can text me anytime. I might not reply. I might not reply instantly, but I'm going to reply. Anyways, I hope that after today you guys reach out to me. Um, we'll start, and at any point, if you're confused or if you don't understand what's going on, you can stop me and I'll explain. Okay. So we're going to start with flow control in Python. So the idea in programming is that since you're writing instructions to a computer, and just like instructions, you have like if I'm to instruct you to do something, there are points where you have to make decisions, right? Like you have to make either conditional decisions like this or that, or repetitive decisions like to do something a certain amount of times or till a certain condition is met. Okay, so like in Python, that we call that flow control. So it's kind of like you can say count from 1 to 10. Counting from 1 to 10 means you are going to add plus one, starting from one, and you add plus one till you reach 10. So you have a starting point, you have an iterator, you have like a difference between two numbers, and you have the endpoint. Okay, so that's some sort of a control flow, right? You're getting from one point to another. There is a condition that has to be met. Another condition, for example, is like when you're entering your password to say your social media account, you have to enter the correct password. Like if you keep um, you know entering the wrong password, it's not going to work. It's only going to work when you write the right password, right? So, like the condition there is that you have to enter a string till it matches the string that was registered. Okay. So, like it's more complex than that, but that's just an example of control flow, right? So we'll start easy and then we'll go through all of these things. And then, like, the goal for today is that we should go through this unit, this one, and this one. If we go through these three units, it's going to be awesome because then the next time we'll get into Python files and like we'll get into advanced stuff, things that are more interesting. We might skip these ones for a beginning and get to this one first. But we'll come back to it. So let's start with this. I'm going to be going really fast today. Stop me at any point, unmute yourselves and talk to me. Okay. I really want you guys to if it is not noisy where you are, you can unmute yourself and just be unmuted. It's not a problem. If it's not noisy where you are, you can unmute yourself all the time. And so you can talk to me anytime. All right, so I'm going to start with Python if statements. So with if statements, it's just a question of like yes or no, right? This is just like I give a number, X. Is X greater than 50? Like if you are in a classroom, for example, and I ask you to grade students that pass an exams, if the passing mark is 10 over is half, 50%, all you need to say is that what mark does X have? 10. Does he pass? Yes. Greater than or equal to 10, right? Does he fail? If it's less than, like if it's a 9, then the person fails, right? So also here we're going to see the concept of I think somebody asked me yesterday about indentation. Who was that? Was it Gideon or someone? I don't think he's here. But someone asked me about indentation, and we're going to see that today. Can anyone remind me about indentation? Who was with us yesterday?
Yeah. So this is Theophilus.
Oh yeah. Hello brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So indentation, you give an example like where you are not supposed to put space. especially in Python, like starting, when we are starting writing, there should be no space. If the space
Okay.
comes, it will give you indentation.
All right.
So
Awesome. That's
that's
very
the example that you gave.
okay. So, like the example I gave was that it was because someone had an indentation error yesterday. Okay. And
Mm,
today we are going to see how to use indentation correctly
okay.
because the idea of indentation is to like to define the scope. Okay. Like let me just give you a practical example. So we're going to receive a number. We'll call it enter your max, an integer. Everyone should be familiar with this, right? We did this last time. So we're going to say if x is greater than or equal to 10, what do we say? Print, you passed, you passed. Else, print, sorry, try again. All right. So now this is how we use indentation correctly. Like let's run through this program. What this program does is like, can somebody run volunteer to run to explain to me the program? Like who thinks they can explain the program to me? Does anybody want to try? At least an attempt. Derek, what's up? Mr. Derek, Mr. Enoch. Okay. What about Josephine? Do you want to try?
Could you ask the question again, please?
I want you to try explaining this program we have. What do you think it's going to do? What do you
The
think it
code you
does?
just typed. Do you
Sorry?
mean the codes you just typed? What do they mean?
Yes.
Okay, I'm assuming there's some data that you're working with. So if x is greater or equal to 10, we are saying that x Python should print that the person has passed based on the data that is there. And if not, print. So if the person got anything less than 10, then Python will print, sorry, they should try again.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's correct. Can somebody tell me why I cannot do this or why I cannot do this? Why do I have to do this? Can anybody take a guess? Ransford, Gerson, Michael?
Hello?
Yeah.
Please, this is Michael.
All right. Go on, please.
Okay, thank you. So, just as she said, the code you have written, the first line is asking for an input, and it's asking us to enter an integer. So, it's specifying which data type we should enter, an integer. And the line 3 is giving a condition that, so when we run the code, it will first ask us for a number. So the number we'll enter is our x. So if that number is 10 or above, then
Mm-hmm.
it will return that we have passed or you passed.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
if the number is less than 10, then it
Mm-hmm.
will return that story, try again. So then it is necessary for us to indent on line 4 and line 6 because we gave a condition on line 3 that if x is greater or equal to 10, if we put the print right under the if, it means that it will not identify to be the effect that should happen. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm thinking. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you. I think Michael is on point. Who agrees with him? Hmm. Who agrees or who disagrees or who doesn't understand? All right, Rosalia is on point. Rosalia is with us. Okay, so that is exactly correct. Like this is the condition here. If this condition is successful, you have to run this. If we bring this line here it means there is no difference between this one and this one. It means like it has to run sequentially, because in Python, when the interpreter takes your program, it's running it line by line. Okay. And when you have an if statement, so it runs this line, then it runs this line. But then what happens is that if it sees, so there's actually something in programming called, it's more complicated. There's an underlying concept in computers called threads. A thread. A thread is like a sequence of programs. Like if you have a program, it has to go into a thread. It has to run in a thread. Let me give you an example of what threading means. For example, we are communicating over Zoom, right? I am talking and it's coming to you, but you realize that like there is the like the video, there is the audio, and there is the chat. So those are three different processes. Imagine that they were coming in the same thread. It means like it's possible that one can lag. So there might be times when you see my face, but you don't see but the voice comes later. If network was disturbing, perhaps. So what happens is that this is a very wrong way to explain it, but imagine that we have three different channels. Okay, one is transmitting my video, one is transmitting my audio, and the other is transmitting text. So it's the same thing in programming, where when you're running a program, normally we're running on a single thread. So we're running on a single channel, a single executor. There's only one, like a computer has, let me say, small brains, okay, communicating with each other. So when I run this program, it gives all of this program into one brain, and then it's running it sequentially. So when the program comes to this line here, it stops. When it stops here, what does it do? It's expecting an input. Okay. So the first thing it does is that it scans for syntax errors. And the thing is, when this one scanned for a syntax error, it found an error. As you can see, this is the error here. It said it expected a colon after 10, which is correct. You always need to have this. Now there is still an error. So if I run this, I expect to have another error. Indentation, right? But now when I remove, when all my errors are done and I run my program, oh, okay, we need another semicolon here. Okay, when I now have no syntax errors. Remember, syntax error means the error when you like misuse the language. If I say something like in English language, if I say something like a orange, this is wrong, right? Like this is grammatically wrong. Like, okay, syntax error is equivalent to grammatical error in programming. That's a good way to look at it. Syntax error, syntax error is equal to grammatical, how do you spell grammar? Grammatical error. So if you have, if I communicate to the computer wrongly, incorrectly, it's going to shout at me. So my logic can be wrong, the semantics. So if I say, for example, let me say, if you write the name, for example, it is in excuse me, I'm going to not pronounce it properly, but if you say in Twi, if you write it is if I spell it correctly, but I pronounce it wrongly, you see my syntax is correct, but the semantics are wrong. Like my pronunciation is wrong. Okay, so like the first thing your compiler does is that it scans your program for errors, for syntax errors. So if I remove this, this space here, this is going to be a syntax error. And when I run my program, I'll have that error. When I fix it now, I am still prone to have semantic or logic errors. Okay. So if I say, for example, less than, if I say if x is less than or equal, if x is less than 10, for example, this doesn't make sense. You cannot have less than 10 over 20 and you pass. So this is a logic error. Okay. But my computer can never detect this error. Only a fellow human being like me can detect it. I don't know if I'm making sense. Is that making sense, or like, am I going too fast? Only one person says a thumbs up. What about the other people? Okay, Rosalia, yes. Enoch, okay. Theophilus, okay. All right. We have a good number of people. Christina has responded too. All right. So if I run this, what happens is that remember that thread I talked about? I talked about a thread. You can look at this on the internet. What is let's just say what is a thread in computers. It's a little bit complicated, but this is what but you need to understand what it is. A thread in computing refers to the smallest sequence of a program instruction that can be managed independently that can be managed independently. Let's look at this. And then I want to use, like, we are going to use this idea of a thread. Okay, I should go back. All right, I'm going to go back. Let me just copy this. I'm going to copy this and we have it here. Let me actually use the multi-line comment. Multi-line comment. So this is the idea of a thread. And I want you guys to keep this in your mind because, like, we are going to use this to explain our programs. Okay, we are going to use these threads to explain our programs. And what I mean by that is, like, this program here is running on a single thread. So everything here runs sequentially, one step, then the next. So what happens in line 1 is that when you run your program, after it scans for all the syntax errors and there is no syntax error, what happens now is that it says X, like it's expecting an input. So the thread is stuck. Till you give an input, it's going to wait for it. So like this program here will never execute if this one doesn't complete. Is that making sense? Like if this doesn't complete, this part is never going to execute. Okay, one person confirms. What about the others? Ask me questions if you're not able to understand.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, please.
Is there a reason why you are leaving spaces in between? Is it a Python thing or like from the numbers? I'm talking about the numbers. Like 1, 2 is empty, then 3. Is it how it's supposed to be?
Oh, no. It's just a way for me to write my code to be clean. Like,
Okay, so it can be done without the spaces.
Yeah, you can do this. You can have it like this. I just want it to be, yeah. But that's a good question. Thank you. The only space that matters, the space that matters is indentation, this one. The vertical spacing doesn't matter. But it's always good to keep your code spaced out so it's easy to read. Because if you have 1,000 lines of code all, clumped together, it's very, very hard to understand. All right, so other than that, yes, Ibrahim, unmute yourself, bro.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you. My question is, why do we, why do we should put semicolon? Like S here we have semicolon, also then we have semicolon, third we have semicolon. I don't know why do we use label.
Okay, in Python, that's actually an excellent question. In programming, what happens not generally is that in every program, there's kind of like the program generally doesn't know when to stop. Like if you have a line, the program doesn't know the end of the line. So in most programming languages, let me show you an example here. Just give me a second. I'm going to switch my screen. You see, every line of code here has a semicolon. Okay, every line of code here has a semicolon at the end. If you look here, you see every line of code has a semicolon, as you can see. But in Python is different. Python doesn't really care about semicolons. The semicolon generally means the end of a program. Python and JavaScript, they generally do not care, but it's a nice thing to put. I think if I put it, it's not going to be an error. I think so. Let's see. Is it going to be an error? Okay, no errors. So generally, a semicolon indicates, let me just write it here. Semicolon indicates end of line. I'm going to copy and paste all of this here so you guys can have access to it. So generally in Python we don't really need it, but in other programming languages it's a must. If you don't put it in other programming languages, you're going to fail. It's not going to work. So does that answer your question? I think Ibrahim, does that answer your question? All right, thank you. All right, let's continue. So as I was explaining in this program here, if this step doesn't go through, if this step doesn't complete, this will never run. So I have to put a number here. And if I put a name instead of a number, say I put Ipad, what happens? We have an error. Okay, because we're trying to compare a string with a number. So this now is like oh, first of all, the error is here is right here because here we expect an integer, but we enter the string. Okay, so this is error in line 1. It says invalid literal for int. So like this doesn't make sense. Like, we expected a number, but we got a string. Does that make sense? Does it make sense why our program failed? Okay, awesome. So I'm going to run it again, and then we're going to put a number. We're going to put 12. What do we expect? We expect to see you passed, because when I put 12, it means I have validated that this step is complete. Because this step expects input. It expects input from me, right? When I give the input, it now moves to this one. It says if x is greater than 12, which is a condition, and this condition is true, which means this step here is going to execute, and then it means that this one is never going to execute. Okay, it means this one is never going to execute because this one already executed. It's an if else, right? If means one or the other. Okay, if or else. So if I had to put, if I run again and I put 5, what happens now is that this step comes here. It says x is not greater than 10. So this step is not going to execute. What happens? It looks for the else. However, if I remove the else, because it's also possible, I can remove the else. Oof, what have I done? I can remove the else. If I run it without the else, you might think that your program failed, but it worked correctly because you have only an if condition. You said if something happens, if x is greater than 10, you should print this. But you did not precise the else condition. You did not say what you should do if the condition was not met. So it just like program ended. This can be confusing. Who understood it or who did not understand it?
Please, I understood it,
Yeah.
but I'm just a little bit confused with the output that came. It says that code execution is successful, but from the code it says that if X is I mean it's executed, but why? Okay, I don't know if you get the question I'm trying to ask.
I get their question. Yeah, and your question is actually valid. See, what has happened here is that we this statement is no longer there. This statement here is we have only the if. Let me give you an example. If I write print end of code, okay. Let me show you guys a proper example. If I have end of code here, end of code, and then here I have the same statement, okay. I have the same statement. It doesn't matter the condition. Let me run it over again. Let's put 12. You're going to see you passed. End of code. Okay. If I run it again and I put 5, sorry, try again. End of code. Okay. This thing is still there. Okay. This one is a constant. It's not, we did not program it there. But now if I remove this part, I don't need to remove it by taking it out. I can just comment it out. Just put a comment, right? So if I comment it out and I run with 5, now what happens is that this condition is not met. What does it do? There is no else, so it just continues. It moves to the next thing. When the condition is there, what happens? If this condition is false, it now goes to this one. Therefore, this one is true. If this one is false, then this one must be true, right? If the true is false, oh no, let me not do that. If this condition is false,
It's normal. It's normal.
if this condition is false, then this one becomes true. Okay, but regardless, this program always runs here. This step here is always going to execute. But now if I remove the case that is supposed to handle the otherwise, it means we only care about this, and then we run this. Does that make sense? All right. See, like in programming, when I was learning it, okay, I was confused around this step too. So it's very normal if anybody's confused. Ask me questions.
Hello.
Yes. Yes. Hello.
So this is Gershon. I'm looking at
Yeah. All
the
right.
lines. Yeah, please, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. I can hear you.
I'm looking at the lines. Can we give more than 2 lines? As explained earlier that you can give one just to help read or make somebody else know how to read your code.
Yeah,
So I
you
want to
can
know,
give as
can you
many
give
lines
more than
as
2 lines, then run another code?
yeah. Yes, see, you can run as
Then
many, you can open as many lines as you want.
with the X, okay. Then
Yeah.
with the
Mm-hmm.
X is greater than equal to 10. I think we can also write less than. And then with
Oh
the print,
yes,
you can write you failed.
yes. You can do that if you want to. You can
All right.
say if less than 10, if less than 10, you failed. Then here you can say else you passed. You know, you passed. Remember remember I told you something right earlier is that in programming the whole idea around programming is that you learn the syntax. Okay, if you learn the syntax, you can do anything you want. So, just to give you an example of what I mean, this same Python we're writing here is the same thing that is used to build machine learning models, is the same thing that is used to build some websites, to build mobile apps, to build hardware, to build data systems. So like you see, it's the same Python, but it's used in even games, to build games. So like it's the same thing, but it's used in different, this same syntax. Like maybe you see that it looks a little bit more complex, but the fundamentals are the same. But you see, it's when you put the syntax, when you like formulate it in a different way, you have a different thing. It's the same like English language, right? If I use English, I can teach with it. You can sing with English language. You can act with English language. You can you can do many things with English language, but the fundamentals are the same. You can write poems and everything else. So it's the same thing with programming. Once you learn the basics, you can do anything you want. You can like you twist and fold it as you please. Okay. So like if you understand that you always have to put a colon after this, and you understand that okay, if I do this, this is going to work, then you can use it to do anything technically. Like some things will be really hard, but you can find your way if you're dedicated enough. So does that make sense? I want a question. I want somebody to tell me that they do not understand something. Ask me a question. I need question. No questions? Everybody understood? Yeah, Ibrahim, yeah.
Okay, what we have just done here, what is about this program?
Sorry?
What we have just done here,
No,
from 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 x equal int input, this is the program instruction till the condition at the end.
yeah. Okay, this entire thing is like there's no point to this program. It's just a demonstration of how if and else works. Okay. Let's call it a how do we do it? What can we say? Okay, let's make it something that checks your for password. Okay, let's make something that checks the password. Password. Let's say password is equal to input. Christine, I'm going to let's now do something interesting. I think now you're going to understand what we're talking about. I've seen your question in the chat. So let's say enter password, and we're going to say the password should be Christina. Yeah. Let me see if password equal Christina, print weak password but worked, else nope. Okay, so this is what is happening here. The point of an if statement is just to check if a condition has been met. Okay, the point of an if statement, that's the bottom line. The point of an if else condition is to check if a condition has been met. So we receive a password, we check if it is this, then we print this, else we print that. That's all. That is all we've been talking about. We have gone through so many angles, but the whole point is that enter, like you receive an input, there's an input, you check if it's equal to a predefined condition. If it works, then good. So Well, syntax error. Okay. Can somebody point out this syntax error? What am I missing?
So there's no semicolon at line 5, which is the else.
Thank you. That's it. So if in this password, if I put Gerson, nope, it says nope. That means I have to run my program again, and I have to say, what should be the password? What should the password be? Enoch. Let's put Christina, but with the small letter, and see what happens. It failed. Why? Because Christina here, C starts with a capital letter. Okay, so I run now, and then does it make sense now? Does it make sense? Is everybody on point with me?
Yes, please.
All right.
Yes, it makes sense.
All right, awesome. Let's continue then. So we're going to move on to the next thing now, which is I've talked about this. If else, we have talked about it. Okay, this one now. Python else if. So in this case now, imagine that we had two passwords. Okay, so we had one is Christina here, and then the other one is like let me see this is access to account one, access to account one, and then we have say password Derek, and then what do we say? Print access to account two. Voila. So this elif is like else if. This is like else if. So if you have multiple conditions, if you have more than two conditions, you need an else if statement, right? Else if this, else if that, you know, does that make sense? It's the same thing as if and else, but now you have like, you can have multiple conditions. You can have as many as you want. You can have another elif here. Maxwell, print access to main account. So if I run this, if I want access to say Derek, I just have Derek run. If I want access to Kelmid, nope. Does that make sense? Any confusion? Like, is 1 plus 1 making 2? All right. I feel like most of you are lost because nobody is saying anything. Yeah,
Can I have a
Josephine, yes.
sorry. So so you said that we use the elif when we have like multiple options, right? So instead of
Mhm.
using the elif, if let's say I also want to use if, does that work, or the elif is
Um, if introduces a new, it's like if you have a new condition, right? Like this is a condition block. This is one block. If I happen to stand here and I say if, then I'm introducing a new block altogether. So if is going to start a new condition block altogether. Okay, but elif continues the same block. So this is like one condition block. Let's say this is one condition block initiated by if. Okay, so if I start another condition block here, then I am starting a new, like if I want to start a new condition, say for example, if x is equal to, or even password, if password is equal to, um, if password is equal to, like, what that means is like, if I have this, if I put an if here, okay, say password is equal to, tell me, okay, it means like all of this here is like a different block. Let me say print tell me. See, it means all of this here is a separate block from all of this. Does that make sense? All right, Ibrahim, you have the question.
Okay, my question is, once I remove the double equal, I put only one equal, it doesn't work. Why?
Yes. Okay. In programming, when we talked about operators, right? This here, this single equal here is for assigning. Assigning. How do you spell assign? Assigning. Assigning means you give something to something. Or somebody, I'm going to answer your question, Ransford, in the chat. So assigning, like if you have, like in programming, right? We have, let me say, so many like see in programming, if you have a single equal to sign, it doesn't mean you're trying to check if something is equal. It simply means you're trying to give something to something. Like you're trying to give a value to a variable. Remember that variables store things, right? Variables hold things. So if you want to take a value and assign it to a variable, the only way to do that is using a single equal to sign. But now if you want to check if something is equal, you have to use double equal to. In languages like JavaScript, you use three equal to signs. Okay, three means like you're checking if the values are equal and if the type is also equal. But in Python we have just two equal to signs, or or there's something called is equal. I think it's something like this, if I'm not mistaken. So I can check this by saying password. I hope I'm not wrong, but this only works for strings, I think. Equal Christina. Let's see if it's going to work. Let's see. Okay, seems like it worked. Let's see, Christina. I think it didn't work. Let's see. It's equal Christina. No, I don't know. Let me see. Python string method equal. Remember I said in Python, in programming, you don't need to remember everything. Okay, there is always something for it. There's always like, you know, you always have to do your research. You don't have to like to master everything. Okay, this is string comparison. I'm going to share the link here with you. So this is how you can compare strings. Like if one is less than the other, we're not going to get into this. You can check this out on your own. So my goal here is to check if there is a method for string comparison, starts with, ends with. These are different methods. So if does one string start with the other, these are different ways to compare. Apparently there is no equal method here. We have only these: equality check, operator for inequality check, um, and then these ones. Does that make sense? Is 1 plus 1 making 2? All right, Josephine is with me. I feel like I lost Christina. And where is Rosalia? Yeah, Rosalia. Okay, she's there. Gideon, welcome. Ibrahim, does that make sense?
Thank you, boss.
All right. Ibrahim, are you with us? Does it make sense? All right, awesome. All right, so I'm going to continue with the next thing. So we're done with this one. If everybody understood, okay, this is also a very good, you guys should look at this. I'm going to share it here as well. Okay, what are we trying to establish? Christina, we're just going through if and else statements. It seems like you're not with us. Unmute yourself and communicate if you're confused. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we can hear you. Yeah.
So
It,
you get the whole thing you are trying to establish. I'm there. I'm following, but I'm not getting the real deal.
okay. What we're trying to establish is that we're trying to learn how to use conditions in Python. Okay. Like we have when you're executing a program, okay, there's a point where you have to decide which code to run. All right, you can either have like this or that. Say for example, if you're in let's give an example of say which app has two different interfaces. Say you're dealing with YouTube. Imagine that YouTube creators and YouTube consumer were in the same app. So when they will ask you, do you want to be a creator or a consumer? Okay, so if you say you're a creator, it means there's a separate UI, separate interface for you. Okay, if you want to create videos, there's a separate interface for you. So we're trying to establish a small case of that nature, where you have to make a condition in Python. And we have established that there are three things. The first one is that you have if, where you have the condition, and then you can define the code that should run if that condition is met. Then there is an else if, which is like if you have more than one condition. Okay, so if you have more than one condition, then you can check, is this condition valid? If this one is not valid, then you can say, okay, what about the second condition? Is it valid? And if you have a default case, kind of like the fallback, you can say print fallback. That's the else case, right? Like the default. So this is like if these two don't work, if these conditions are not met, then this is what you should print out. Does that make sense? We're just trying to establish like conditions in Python. That is all. Is that making sense? All right. So if Christina is with us now, all right. So we're going to continue. You guys can read this. I highly recommend that you should read it. Okay, read it. I shared it with you. We are going to move a bit faster now. So with loops, a loop is just an iteration. Okay, a loop is just an iteration. Like iteration just means like repeating something. You're going through a list. So if I give you, let's create a list. I'm going to just copy this. I'm going to copy this and just can I wipe this off? Can I clean all of this out? I'm going to paste it in the chat. So if anybody needs it, they can get it from there. Copy and paste it here. Boom. All right, there we go. I made so many questions in the chat. Ransford. Oh, Ransford was asking. I hope I answered your question, Ransford. If like leaving space between them. I hope I answered your question. Okay, so in loops, let me see. Okay, all right, awesome. So in loops, did I discuss list with everyone or only some people? Do you guys know what lists are? A list. Who doesn't know what a list is? There's Ma'am Araba Jackson. Okay, Enoch doesn't know. All right, that's cool. Someone is just silent here. Okay, I don't know. Who knows? Yesterday I discussed it with some people. Who knows? I don't know. Okay, cool. No problems. We're going to get to it. Yesterday, is it yesterday, 2 days ago, 1 day ago, I discussed it with some people. Who was there?
So
Who was in the?
let me
All right.
attempt
Yeah.
this safe loss.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I can see you, bro. Take it. Carry on.
So let me attempt this. So let's values that you assign to a variable that are dynamic. So in less like what we have written there, Swift, Python, then Go. Here you can add when you have more of the list, you can add it to it. So basically that's a list.
Okay.
Values that you assign to a variable but is malleable, like you can change it.
Mm-hmm.
It's dynamic.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. That was a good attempt. Who else was there and who wants to try? I think Rosalia was there, right? I remember I was using the name Asante as an example. Rosalia, do you want to try?
Yes, please. You said that the list is like a container where you can add more value.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Who else wants to give it a shot? Ibrahim. I believe you know, right? Sorry, Ibrahima. I keep saying Ibrahim. Ibrahima, you wanna try? Try explaining what a list is to us.
I think they have mentioned the point. It's once you want to assign a list of, you want to assign things to values like names, without like names. I think at that point you mentioned about tuples too. So once
Mm-hmm.
you use list, so you
Mm-hmm.
assign to values, then they are dynamic. You can change them. Now once you put a tuple, it's unchangeable.
Okay, awesome. Gideon, I remember you were there too. Thank you, Ibrahima.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Please, can you hear me?
Yep.
When you say a list is a mutable object. When you say mutable, meaning it can be changed after it has been created. So that means you can add some and remove some.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
awesome.
it. Thank you.
All right. I love the terms you guys use. I'm going to explain what they're talking about, okay? So they have actually covered the basics. When we say list, a list is a data type. It's what we call a composite data type. Just like we have integers, strings, booleans, floats. We have already touched all of that, right? So it's like those ones are called primitive data types. Primitive data types, and then a list is a composite data type. Composite because like it's made up of multiple things. A list, as you know, is just a list. It's a list of primitive data types. So you can have a list of numbers, you can have a list of strings, you can have a list of booleans, you can have a list of floats. So a list is a combination, it's a collection, a collection. It's a collection of data types. So like you can have a list of names. A name is a string. Okay, you can have a list of numbers, you can have a list of, and then another thing that they mentioned about a list is that it is dynamic. Dynamic means it's not like fixed. Like if you have a list of size 10, you can increase it to 11, you can increase it to 12, 13, 14, you can reduce it to 8, you can reduce it to 0, you can clear the whole list. Okay, it is also mutable. Mutable just means you can change things about the list. Mutable, just like you have I don't know, like it's called a DNA mutation, right? Mutate means to change, to alter. So a list is mutable. It's a container. It carries things. It carries other types. Okay. Another variable of a container or a collection or a composite data type is called a tuple. So a tuple, I'm just going to copy all of this. I'm not going to rewrite it. So this is a tuple. So I'm going to call this names fixed equal to, and this is a tuple. A tuple is the same like a list. It's a collection of names too. But the difference between a list and a tuple is that, excuse me, a tuple is fixed. You cannot change a tuple. You cannot change the size of a tuple. It is given. Like you cannot add a name to this. In a list, I can add one more name in the program. So in a program, I can come here and I say names dot append. Whose name are we appending? Derek. We can append Derek's name. Okay, we can, and let me show you what I mean. I'm going to print. I'm going to use this now to print. So I'm going to use it to show you guys now how we use for loops in names, print, name. So I'm going to run this, and then you can see it. Let me not create questions. Let me not create unnecessary questions. Okay, so this is it. All right, so this is what is happening. Remember, I just gave names. I had Gideon, Felix, Josephine, Ransford, Enoch, Christina, Theophilus. But you see, Derek is added. It's because I appended. In a list, I can append. I can add a name to a list, but I cannot add. There's no method for me. There's no way for me to add a name to a tuple. And some of you might ask me where this came from. You just come here. You can say Python list methods, and then you have everything. I did not cram them. It's not like I know them offhand. No. If I don't know them, I'll just search. Okay. There's so many of them. There's append, there is extend, there's insert, there's remove, there's pop. I'm just going to copy this and share here with you. You don't need to remember all these things. So if I want to add another list, I can just do this. If I want to extend, so if I have two lists and I want to concatenate them, I can do that. So I can come here, I can say, let me do that and you see. I'm going to append names and languages, extend languages. So I'm going to take these human names and then add these programming language names to it. So now what happens is that I have these names here. I add Derek to the list of names, and then I now extend. It means I take the list that I already added Derek to, and I add Swift, Python, and Go. That's why you have. When I print it now, you have all of these names. And the for loop, what the for loop does is that it just goes through the list. It's like repeating from zero, because in Python this is position zero. Okay, this we call in Python we call it indexing. So I can index a particular position. I can say print, say names, and then I index a particular position. So Felix, if this is zero, I'm pointing in my screen like I forgot. If this is zero, this is one, two, three. So if I want to print Ransford, I'm going to print three. And I say this name is, I'm going to put a new line here. I'm going to run this and you'll see this name is Ransford. Number three, as you can see here, 0, 1, 2, 3. I want you guys to ask me questions, please.
So the list is automatically ordered.
No, like I can change the order if I want to. Like, is that your question? Like, do you mean like sorted?
The last code you said print. This name is names and number 3,
Mm-hmm.
and it printed Ransford, right? So I'm saying that in Python, when you create a list like the names, is it automatically ordered? So when you type 3, Python already knows the name that you are referring to.
Oh, like Python doesn't know the name I'm referring to. It's just going to pick whatever is in three. So let me show you another example of that. If I reverse, if I say, okay, I'm going to take all of these names and I'm going to reverse them. So I reverse. So when I say reverse, what happens? It means I have Gideon, I have this list here. I add Derek to the list. So now I have Gideon, Felix, all of these plus Derek. Then I extend. So I have Swift, Python, Go. But then if I reverse it, what happens? It means it's going to start from Go, Python, Swift, Derek. So now this is 0, 1, 2, 3 when I reverse, right? So if I run this now, what happens? You see, it reversed it 0, 1, 2, 3. And then now my number 3 is Derek, no longer Ransford. So my Ransford is now number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 7. Is that 7? Like you can see with me. Does that make sense? It can be confusing. Okay, all right. Josephine
Uh,
is with us. Yeah.
can I've seen some observation. You see how you use your syntaxes. Sometimes when we're introducing new syntax, explain it for us. You see the line 14, line 16, print. You see you added some new syntaxes at the beginning.
Yeah.
The red ones there. Then
Yes.
it send it to a new line for you. Then the output, it came like this name is Derek. So is it the new syntax that you added to it that brought it to another space for you, or
Huh. Yeah, that's a good question. I deliberately did it so that you guys to see, I wanted somebody to ask me a question about it. And thank you for asking it. It shows that you are paying attention. So in Python we have something called we call them like or we call them like special characters. Okay. So if I do this, not only in Python, generally in programming, this is not something particular to Python. This is general in programming. If you put this, it means you want to go to a new line. So if I do this, if I print name and I say new line, at the end of name. If I append a new line to the end of a name, so I say take the name and add a new line. What that means is that at the end of every name, it is going to add an extra new line to it. No, this is too confusing. Let's do it here. So if I do this, it means add a new line. If I do this, it means tab. Tab means space. Okay, it just means space. So look at it. Look at this. Here, this is like it starts just here in the beginning, right? But if I run this, what happens? It goes to a new line, but then it also gives space. If I add multiple tabs, let me put a tab here. Let me remove this piece and put a tab, tab, tab.
Okay.
So it's going to give a lot of space.
Yeah, two
So
space.
that's a good question that you asked right there, and thank you for doing that. I really wanted to do that to see, if you guys are following up, and it shows that you're actually following up. That's nice. Okay, so if I do this, it means I'm adding two new lines. It means in between all of these, I'm going to have two spaces. Is it making sense?
Oh, okay. Okay. All
Do you
right.
guys see it now?
Mm.
It can be confusing, but it's going to take time, and you get it. Like the whole point is that /n backslash, is it forward slash backslash n just means escape character. That's what it means. So see, if I want to put quotation marks, let me give you another example. If I want to put quotation marks on a name, say I'm expecting a name here to be Derek. Okay. If I want to put if I want to put quotation marks, what you might ask me is that there's already a quotation mark here. If I try to do this, say if I want to put another quotation mark, you see it's going to give me errors. You see, because it doesn't know, like, what are you trying to do. So in Python, what you can do is that you can do this. It means escape character. It's kind of like, let me see, let me just print it and show you what I mean. If I run this, it puts a quotation mark. So like it doesn't read it, because normally this quotation mark is this quotation mark normally is like, I'm going to answer a question on that spot. So this quotation mark generally is a syntax. It's like a it's like it's part of the syntax. It's the same like I put dot here, or it's the same like I put space here or semicolon here. But then if I want to use it literally in my code so that I can print out here, I have to use something like this to escape. I can put this and put single two, and it work. Oh, error. What did it fail? Unterminated string. It means it read this and then I didn't close it, you see, because I have this one and there is no closing. That's why, right? I have this name is ta 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 ta, but I don't close this one, so I have to close it here for it to make sense. Okay. It might not make sense, but gradually it's going to make sense. In line one, I can see single inverted commas, but the other ones are names have double. Generally, there's no big difference. There is a difference actually in most programming languages. In most programming languages, single is like for characters. So if I have a character like A, if I have character, say gender, and I say male, normally you always do this in most programming languages. If you do this in C, you'll give you an error because you should have this. But in Python, it doesn't really matter. You can have double or single. But actually, if you go into the details, it might matter, but generally it doesn't. I hope that answers your question, Ransford. And I really understand these things can be confusing. That's why you guys need to ask me questions, okay? Like I'm talking about too many things at the same time. I'm talking about lists, I'm talking about special characters, I'm talking about loops at the same time. It can be confusing. So like, but trust me, this is how it's going to make sense. It's only going to make sense if you're able to piece all of these moving parts together, because they'll always work together. So you need to ask me questions. And there is no dumb question, okay? There is no question that you feel like, because the truth is that when somebody asks a question, another person has the same question, and maybe they're too shy to ask. So ask them. You're helping other people too. No question?
Okay, sir, please. let's go back to line 17, where you
Okay.
first wrote print says with the back slash new line backslash the tab.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to know, can we still write print parentheses slash the tab first, then
Okay.
slash the new line? Is it possible?
Yes. Yeah. You can put it in any in that's actually a good question too. Like if you put it in this order, it means it's going to give a tab, but and then it moves to a new line. But then you will not really notice it because the tab is going to be on this line. The tab is here. The tab is on this line here. So let me say if I say tab, I say hi, and then I say hi, and then I move to a new line. You see that the tab is going to appear, the tab appears, hi appears, then it goes to a new line, and then it continues. So like the truth about programming is that you have to experiment with these things. Like I don't really know all the combinations that can work. It's only when playing with it in your own space that you realize that, oh, this is possible. Oh, this doesn't work. Then you understand why. Like there's no way I can show you like this and then you understand everything. You have to go and play with it on your own. Okay. So if you go to there and you say you want to make a calculator, you can say, how do I make a calculator? I need conditions. Do you want to multiply? Do you want to add? You take two numbers, then you ask the person, what do you want to do? Add, multiply, divide. How do I compare what the person wants? How do I execute based on the person's input? You see, like that is how you guys like the only way you are going to understand these things properly is only if you try to write programs. And I'm here. I'm in the message. Only one person reached out to me. I was happy that she reached out to me, but I'm also sad that only one person did. And I'm happy that she did. It means she's trying, right? So I really hope that after today, you guys will reach out to me while trying things. So other than that, is there any other question? Rosalie, are you with us? All good?
One thing I've noticed about this whole Python thing is you can learn everything all right, but you can't remember
Mm-hmm.
everything. I quite remember when I was trying
Yeah.
to sing,
Mm-hmm.
and then with the execution, I was lost. So I was like, where am I? So I think, as you said earlier,
Yes.
with a lot of practice.
Absolutely. Like, trust me, it's been a lot. Even personally, I will not say that I'm a Python. I'm not an expert in Python. It's actually been more than even 1 year since I wrote Python code. Okay, but because I remember the syntax, I'm able to remember a few things out of it. But there's no way I can write a solid program in Python because I've not been playing with it. Like, it's kind of like it's only when you play with it that, like, when you try to do things with it, that you really understand it. If after this lecture you guys just leave it, trust me, you'll forget everything. It will make no sense. You'll be like you never understood the whole thing. The only way to do it is to actually go and use it. So can we move on to the next thing if you guys are cool? I feel like I'm bored, like I'm just boring you guys, and I don't want that. I really want that you guys to live here while you've learned something. We cannot come and spend 2 hours here and then you go and you're like, I regret
I'd
those two
wanted to
hours.
ask this question.
We are learning, pal. We are learning. It's just that
Okay,
we are learning.
okay, all right. Okay, somebody had a question
I
for me.
wanted to ask, with the list, yes, with the list, earlier you were explaining that the list is more or less like a container. And
Mhm.
containers most actually contain different types. And then and what you wrote with the third line, you wrote names containing names of people. And then I'd wanted to actually know, we can write names although, but can we fill it with maybe numbers or names of
Mhm.
trees or other? I
Yeah,
don't know if you really get what I'm saying.
I understand you. Excellent question. See, let's check this out. I'm going to say Swift and then two. So these are different types, right? This is a string. Let's go crazy. Let's say L, W. Let's say W. We like W's. And then we say Python. So this is like, let me say stuff. Let's just say stuff. This is stuff. So we have a string here, we have a floating point number, we have a character, we have a boolean, we have an integer. These are different data types. If I run this, Python just says, okay, we're good. Mhm. Python has no problem. It just runs the whole thing.
Understood.
The reason, sorry,
I mean,
this
I've
bold is
understood
just,
everything.
let me say true. Let me say true. This is better. Boom. So you can mix them. You can mix them. You can put the same thing. You can mix them. In Python only. In other programming languages, this is going to be like your compiler is screaming like no. But in Python, Python says no problem. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next thing. We have spent a lot of time here. I'm going to now go through the other one. So in Python, we have more than one loop. There's another kind of loop. Generally, there are many loops. This is now where we'll make. You remember the thing that we wrote a program earlier that had to do with checking a password, right? Do you remember? But the thing with the program was that when you run it, when you run it once, like if you run it once, what happens? It like if you write the wrong password, it just ends. Like the program ends. It says sorry. But normally that's not how things work, right? They ask you to try again. So I'm going to show you guys something interesting. I'm going to show you these two things at the same time. So I'm going to show you a while condition, and I'm going to show you by example. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. And I'm going to show you guys how we can write a password. Like let's write a simple password thing. So I'm going to say while password. This is going to be very complicated. So I want you guys to ask me questions. Enter password. While while input password not equal to real password. Okay, let's do this. No, let's just do while input. Then let's say no. Let's take it easy. Let's take it easy. Let's say x is equal to. Let me take you guys. Let me take you guys
Everything, but
through this. Sorry.
you can learn everything, but you cannot remember everything.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to make it too complicated. Like there's a way to do it, but I don't want to make it too complicated. You know, if I make it too complicated, I'm going to lose too many people. So let's take it easy. I'm going to say print x, and I'm going to say x. I think let's just say plus equal 1. All right. Okay. Who understands what I just wrote?
I don't really understand, although, but from what you have done, I can see our X is running backwards. Sorry to say, but what I mean is X or 10 is greater than X. So it's giving us numbers which is below 10.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm right.
Yeah, you're correct. Now, like I want somebody to now explain to me what they think is happening line by
Yes.
line. So line 1, then line 3, then line 4, 5. I want somebody to attempt, because if you attempt it, you're going when I explain it now, if you're right or wrong, you understand it better.
I want to try.
Yeah, yes, please.
So the first line, you're saying that x is equal to 0. So you're assigning x to be 0.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third line, so
Mm-hmm.
even though you've assigned x is equal to 0, you're also saying that x is less than 10.
Mm-hmm.
So it's starting from 0 to any number less than 10, and then print x is like it's going to print the output which we have over there. But the last one, I'm assuming, I don't understand the last code. I'm assuming that x is adding, so it's increasing by 1. That's what I understand there.
Okay, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Check this out now. If I put 2, do
Yeah,
you
so
see it now?
yeah.
So it's increasing now by 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what happens. This statement here, I think this is the statement that is confusing. So if I have x, okay, if I want to increase the value of x, there are 2 ways I can do it. I can say x is equal to x plus 2. And what this means is that I am going, like, remember in programming, when you say equal to, it means you are assigning something. That means I'm going to compute the right hand side, which is x plus 2. What is my initial value of x? Say x starts at 0. So it says 0 plus 2 is equal to 2. What does it do? It assigns it to x now. Here I get the value of x, and here I am assigning it to x. So I get the value of x here. Then I give it back now to the variable x. And it can be confusing. Okay. So this thing here is the same thing as x plus equal to 2. You can do the same thing for minus. X is equal to x minus 2 is the same thing as x minus equal 2. Confusing. Who doesn't understand? Who's still confused? Like, what? Like, it doesn't click yet. Nobody. Okay, who understands? So nobody understands and nobody doesn't
Okay.
understand.
Actually, with our lady, she
Mhm.
explained it better. So with the first line, as she
Okay.
said, we are trying to say x is equal to 0. Then with
Yes.
the third line, we are also saying x is less than 10. And then with the
Mhm.
fourth line, it's trying to give us the
Mhm.
number of uh, the numbers that are less than the 10.
Mhm.
And with the line 5, it's also giving us that then those numbers are by plus 2. So it means it's
Mhm.
going to run the numbers from 0 with another addition 2, additional 2, additional 2. So we get to the last number, which is less than the 10. And then with the line 11, so I think line 11 is more or less like the line 5. I think they are equal.
Mhm.
And then with
Yes.
the line 12, it's also giving us the subtraction aspect, whereby it's reducing
Okay.
by 2.
Okay, so this is the comment. The point I was trying to get here, and thank you very much, you are right on point. Okay, the point I'm trying to get here is that I'm trying to explain this. I'm trying to explain this. Okay, I'm going to look into this. I'm trying to explain what this is, like, how this works. But what you said is 100% right. So this is what is happening here. Okay, this is what is happening here. In programming with the while loop, what happens is that you initiate. So you start something at a particular point. There's a starting point, x equals 0. Okay. And then when you get to line 3, what you're doing is that you're asking, like, this is going to run only if this condition is true. So if I change this condition to greater than and I run this code, you see nothing. Because when it says x is equal to 0, it comes, is x greater than 10? No. So it skips the whole thing. It skips everything here. But then if x is less than 10, what does it do? It means it's going to run whatever is inside here. Okay, so it's going to print the value of x, the current value of x. That's why we have x equals 0 here. And then what does it do in the next step? It now says x is equal to x plus 2. So it changes the value of x now by 2. X 0 plus 2 is 2. And then now what does it do? It has to run the program again because this condition, so this one is only going to run till this condition is like till this condition is false. So this condition runs, so this code here, this code runs till condition is false. this condition here, like if this condition is true, or you can say each time this condition is true, this code is going to run. And that also means if I remove this statement, what is going to happen? It means you keep running because x is going to remain 0. If I comment this out, this statement is going to keep running consistently because the value of x doesn't change. If x is always 0, this condition will always be true, right? So you always be printing 0. And that creates what we call an infinite loop. If I run this, it can crash my browser. Like you can make my like this is actually a vulnerability. This is like you can bring a system down because it's going to keep running. It can run like millions of times. Okay, till like my so it's going to keep running till my program runs out of memory. I don't want to run it because if I run it my like it can stop. Let me just try. You see, it keeps running. And this is going to be consuming my memory. You see, I'm going to clear it. How do I stop it? Okay, I stopped it. So if you don't do that, or imagine I say, for example, instead of minus here, instead of plus, I put minus. So I say x minus minus, it means it's going to keep reducing, right? So if I run this, you see minus 2 minus this, it's just going to keep going. X is always going to be less than 10. So it's going to eat up all my memory and then like shut down my computer maybe at some point. So this is what they call an infinite loop. And the idea here is that we have given a condition that is never going to be met. So you have to always take, there are three things you need to always know when you're writing loops. The first thing is the starting value. Starting value, okay? Starting value or initiator. Initiator. The second thing is the condition. The condition. And the third thing is the stopping criteria. Stopping criteria. Or condition, sorry, not the stopping criteria. The incremental. Incremental. The condition or stopping criteria. So your incremental has to always map the condition that you want to achieve. Like your incremental here has to always map the condition you want to achieve. I know this is confusing. I need questions. I need someone to ask me a question. Somebody sent me a message I'm going to download, but I need somebody to ask me a question while I'm looking at what somebody sent to me. Okay, this is what Ransford did. Let me show you guys. How can I show you? I'm going to load it full screen. So this is what Ransford did. Can you see it? Can you guys see? This is Ransford's
Yeah.
program, which is good. Huh? All right. So I'm going to shut that down and then we continue with what we were doing. All right, that's good work, Ransford. Thank you. So does it make sense? I really need questions. Okay, Josephine is with us. One person. Rosalia is with us. Two people. Gideon is with us. Three. Ibrahima. Four.
So,
Jeffrey. Five.
I wanted to
Okay.
write the code, send it to you, but my laptop is down since we have no light here. So I think, can I read so that you help me write?
No, it's okay. You can try it out later. Don't bother about, like you can try it out in your free time. Don't bother, bro. It's all good. I'm always on. I'm online. You can check. You can
All right.
ask me anytime. Yeah. All right. So now there is this thing called break and continue. Okay. So a break and continue is kind of like let me show you something. All right. Awesome. Somebody responded. Jackson. So Jackson responded finally. I thought that you were gone, bro. I didn't know that you were with us. So imagine I want to skip a number, 5, maybe. So remember, I'm printing all of these from 0 to 9. Okay. Or let's even say from 0 to 10. But I don't want to print 5. I can just skip it. How do I do that? I can just say if x equal 5, or I can, let me see, let's start with this. I can just say if x equal 5, what do I do? I can say skip. I can just say continue. What do I do? No, before doing continue, I'm going to say x plus equal 1. Can somebody explain this program? Oh, sorry. Let me see. If x equal 5, 2, 2, 2. Oh, sorry. I forgot to print. Supposed to print here. Print x. All right. Can somebody explain why? Let me keep it simple. Can somebody try to explain to me why 5 was not printed here? Can somebody attempt it? Who's willing to try?
So what I'm saying is, first line is trying to tell us x is equal to 0, which means wherever you see x is the same as 0. So with line 4, if x, I can see that x is trying to tell us 5 is the same as, because they are identical.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I'm seeing. So it means 5 is identical to x, which is formerly 0. That is why we are not seeing 5.
Mm-hmm. That is a little bit incomplete, but yeah, you're getting there. You're getting there. Who has a better explanation? Who was like an upgrade? But that's a good attempt. Thank you. Mr. Enoch, you're silent. Ibrahim has gone silent too. Rosalia too has gone silent. Derek has not said a word. Felix today decided not to say anything. Yeah, Mr. Gideon.
Okay, so our attempt on the question.
All right.
All right, so I think with the first line, the x is equal to 0 is telling us that whenever we see x is equal to 0, and also with the third line, x is telling us that x is equal to or greater than 10. So that means that 10 is inclusive. And with the fourth line, it's telling us that if x is equal to and is also equal to 5, that means that the x and then the 5, they are the same. So that means that 0 and 5 are the same. And so then the 5 is telling us, the fifth line is telling us that the interval between the numbers are 1 plus 1 plus 1. So from 0 plus 1, then go to 1, then 2, 3. Yes. Then now 7, then now 6 is that we should continue. Then now the 7 says that we should print. Yes. Then the 8 is telling us that. So it's like from the fifth we break. Then the 6th we continue. Then the 8th line is telling us that x is equal to 1. That is the interval. That was what I was saying.
Okay.
So,
You're
let me
almost there.
try. Let me
Yes,
also
please.
try.
Yes, please.
So all that they have said is kind of true though. But what I want to add to it is, you see the first line 1 is telling you that s is equal to 0. So, and the line 4 also is telling you that s is equally equal to 5. So if we see 0 in the output, it means you can also find 5 again, because it has already told you that they are all 5 and 0 are equal to x. So if you see 0, it's the same as seeing 5. So 5 also will not come. Unless if on the flip side again also, if 5 were supposed to start, I'm not sure that you will see 0 also. So if you see any one of them, though this 0 is starting, that's why 0 comes first. So if you see 0, it's the same as seeing 5. That's my understanding.
Okay. Okay. Gideon, do you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you. What I want to say is the first line is saying that if s is equal to 0, and the third line is saying that s is less or equal to 10. So s is a range from 0 to 10, from 0 to 9. S is a range from 0 to 9. And the fourth line is saying that if s is equal to 5, it means that the number 5 will compare the 0, the first 0. If s is equal to 0, if s is equal to 0, if s is equal to 0 and s equal to 5 are equal, skip. If S equal to
Yes.
1 and S equal to 5 are equal, skip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
you know that S equal to 5. No, like I want to put it in the right statement again. I want to put it in the right statement here. Like what I'm trying to say that S is a range from 0 to 9,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you have a number comparing the number to the range of numbers. If the number comparing are equal to the numbers, it should
Mm-hmm.
skip. So
Okay.
the first number compared to the first number is not equal. It will maintain.
Mm-hmm.
The first number
Mm-hmm.
comparing to the second number is not equal. So it will also maintain. So it will compare to the fifth one to the fifth number. If it is equal, then it will skip. Then continue later.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So please that's it.
Okay. In this explanation, I like something you said. You mentioned skip, which is the first time somebody said it, and that's what I like. So, like, thank you very much for your attempt. Okay. I love the ideas you guys shared, but you guys missed a few things, and I hope when I'm going to explain now, you get it. Okay. See, when I say X, I'm going to try to explain now, and then, if you don't understand anything, you tell me. Okay. So, see, we started at 0. All this means is that this is a starting point. It doesn't mean anything. You could start at 1. Let's start at 1, and then you see 1 is going to pop out here. Okay. And then I'm going to explain what all of this means. What all of this means is that when you come to this here, this is a loop. A loop means you are going to be repeating till a certain condition is met. While x is less than 10, while 1 is less than 10, it means we are going to get into all of this. It means this is our condition. If this condition fails, if this condition is not true, it means we're just going to get directly here. We skip all of this and go directly to to this step here, to whatever is here. Currently, there's nothing after this, so we will just skip. Okay. But now, if this condition is true, because 1 is less than 10, what does it do? It comes here and it checks. Is x equal to 5? That is what this statement means. You can read this as is x equal is x equal to 5? That's the question. Simple. If this statement is true, it goes into this. It is not true. So it comes here. It says, is x equal to 8? Another question. Not true. What does it do? Skips this. And then it comes to print. It just prints the number because that's the next thing to do, right? If this condition is not true and this one is not true, it comes here. Then it now changes x from 1 to 2. So x increases now by 1. So that's why we have 1 printed out at this point here. And then it increases it to 2. 2 has not been printed yet. So it comes back now. Is 2 less than 10? True. Is 2 equal to 5? No. Is 2 equal to 8? No. Print 2. That's why we have 2. Increase 2 now to 3. Is 3 less than 10? Yes. Is 3 equal to 5? No. Is 3 equal to 8? No. Print 3. Go to 4. It does the same thing. When it comes now to 5, when it goes to 4 and then it goes to 5, now x is 5. It comes. Is 5 less than 10? Yes. Okay, this is where I have to be careful now. Is 5 less than 10? Yes. Is 5 equal to 5? Yes. What do? We increase the number. So we now change from 5 to 6. That's the first thing we do. Because if we skip if we, like, let me explain. We now say if we skip, no, is 5 equal to 5? Yes. So change x now to 6. So after changing x to 6, what do you do next? You skip. So you don't, the rest of the things in this loop, you don't do them again. You don't come and print it again. There's no printing, there's no increasing again. At this point here, you forget about everything and you come back here. Is 6 less than 10? Yes. That is what this statement means. This statement here, continue, means skip. This was the main what I wanted to show you guys. And then let me continue. And the reason I increased before I skip is that if I remove this, what happens? Is x equal to 5? Yes, skip. If you skip when x is equal to 5, it's going to come back here. Is 5 less than 10? Yes. Is x equal to 5? Yes. Skip again. So you keep skipping and coming back, x equals 5. You enter an infinite loop. So if I run this, you see, this is an infinite loop. My program is still running, but it's running, it's stuck here. Okay, that's an infinite loop. So let me show you. If I print end here and I say x plus equal 1, if I run this, you're going to see end. But if I remove this statement, if I remove it and I run this, you are never going to see end because this program is still running because it is stuck at 5. Okay, does that make sense? Like, is it making sense?
Yes, yes, you're making sense. It's really making sense.
Okay,
I now get it.
all right. Okay, awesome. Now I'm going to continue now to the next one. So we're at 6. So when I get to x equal 5 here, it checks is 5 is x equal 5? Yes. Increase it to 6 and then skip. So now is 6 less than? So I'm going to print this. Is 6 less than 10? Yes. Is 6 equal to 5? No. So this doesn't run. Is 6 equal to 8? No. This doesn't run. It prints 6 and then it increases 6 to 7. Same thing. 7 less than 10? Yes. 7 equal to 5? No. Skips. 7 equal to 8? No. It prints 7 and then it goes to 8. When it goes to 8 now, what does it do? It comes, is 8 less than 10? Yes. Is 8 equal to 5? No. Skipped all of this. Is 8 equal to 8? Yes. What does it do? It stops. Break means stop. It means it quits everything that's going on inside here. It quits everything and it goes to the end. That's why you have 7 and then you have end. Even though, because x is 8, if this statement was not here, it would have printed 8. So if I say this is x greater than 8, what is going to happen is that it's going to print 8, and then when it goes to 9, it will now come here and check is, let me run it and you see. So if we run it with 8, what happens is that at 7, it increases to 8 here. Then we come, we check, is 8 less than 10? Yes. Is it equal to 5? No. Is 8 greater than 8? No. So it prints 8, and then it increases to 9. Then when it comes back now, it checks, is 9 less than 10? Yes. Is it equal to 5? No. Is 9 greater than 8? Yes. It stops. It doesn't print 9. It stops the whole thing, and then it prints the end. Is that making sense? Like, is 1 plus 1 making 2? All right. Okay. So can I proceed? Or any questions? I need a question. I can proceed. Okay. Ibrahima says I can proceed. Awesome. So that is breaks, exits the loop entirely, skips. This is it. I'm going to skip this one. I'll show you guys later. A pass. I'll show you guys later. So the next thing is data types. We have already done some of this already. We have done numbers, Python numbers. I'm not going to get in depth into this one. You guys can read this one. Complex numbers, you can read them. If you're mathematics students, then it will be really useful. If hexadecimal is like things you learn in school, not very useful now. Sets. I discussed Python sets last time. Unfortunately, we cannot discuss it now, but I highly recommend that you read it. Okay, I highly recommend you read it. Oh, yeah. I think some somebody's in the market. How do we mute him? Francis, can somebody mute Francis for us? All right, dictionaries. This one is very easy. A dictionary, I'm going to just go through it easily, okay? A dictionary is just a key value pair. So just like we have lists, we have tuples, we discussed them already, right? We have dictionaries. A dictionary is just like you have a key value pair, just like you have a name and a definition in a dictionary. It's the same thing. Key value pair. So capitals of country: Germany, Berlin; Canada, Ghana, Accra. Simple. It's not too crazy. What is important is like how to add things to dictionaries, how to access them, how to add things. So I'm going to send the link here to you guys read it. All right. So you guys read this too. this is what I wanted us to do. I really wanted us to do this today, but it seems like time is not going to permit us. We have just about 10 minutes. Is it 10 minutes? How much time do we have? What time is it in Ghana right now? I think it's 5.
We have 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to introduce functions. I'm going to introduce functions, and then I will give you guys an assignment that is big like this, so big that my hands are going behind my back. A huge assignment. I'm going to give you guys a huge assignment. All right. So we are going to talk about functions. First of all, before we proceed, I want questions. Any questions? Who is not understanding what? Or who is confused? I want a question. Who is lost? Okay, who was on? Oh yeah, Ibrahima, yes, please.
Okay, maybe we have passed that part. That's part, but I will ask. Why do we need to use while loop?
Why do we need to use while loop? Awesome. Like see, that's a brilliant question actually. Thank you very much. I'm going to copy this and share and add here, and then I'll compare two loops and you guys will see. That's a very brilliant question. If I had like 10 Ghana cities, I'd have sent them to you, bro. All right. So we're going to compare for loop versus while loop. Okay, so like in the for loop, we know, like beforehand, we know the size of the loop. If I want to loop from 1 to 10, I already know, like it's already defined. Okay, it is given that I am going to loop from 1 to 10. We mostly use while loops when we don't know how many times we are going to loop. Let me say it again. We use while loops when we don't know how many times we are going to loop. Let me give you guys an example. This is going to be a confusing example, but just look at it. Enter password. If let me say echo x. Let me see. I hope this works. I hope this works. Might not work. If password equal yo break print. Nope. Try again. Okay. See, let's try this if it's going to work. Please work. Input. Um, let's ask ChatGPT. Let's ask ChatGPT. Chat. Let's ask ChatGPT. Make this work. I don't know it. Voila. Okay, let's do this. Access granted. Boom. So this is it. ChatGPT gave this to us. So like this is our program. I'm not going to lie to you. So you can see it here. I'm doing research. Like this is my old Copilot here. In a VS Code, you have what they call Copilot, right? If you don't know it, you just come to extensions here. For those of you who have done your VS Code, you just type Copilot here. Okay, it's going to come Copilot. Is this VS Code? Oh, sorry, this is not VS Code. But just go to VS Code, you tap extensions, you search for Copilot and use it. It's very important. Or you can use ChatGPT if you want to. But the point I'm trying to get to use this. Who asked the question? The difference between while loops. See, when I ask somebody for a password, I don't know how many times they're going to try before they get it. It can be 10 times, it can be a million times. Okay. So what I'm going to say is that while true is always going to be true, right? True means it's always going to work. So this is an infinite loop. So I deliberately create an infinite loop. I go with my own hand and I say run this forever. And then what I do is that I say inside that forever, I say enter the password. Then if the password is what I want it to be, it stops. So I remember I said that you should create my loop, but now I'm saying that okay, is the password what I want it to be? If it is, let me say hi. What does it do? It says nope. So what happens is that while true, which is always true, true is always true, enter a password. So my program stops here and waits for my input. When I enter the input, it compares, is my input equal to what it expected it to be? If it is, then it breaks. So it stops everything here and then prints this thing. But if my input is not what it expected it to be, it's not going to do this, it's going to print this. So if I come here and I type yo, access granted. So now what happens is that it verifies here and then it skips this because I said stop here, stop, and then it comes here. Is that making sense? So like it means um like for a for loop I have to define. I have to say something like for one for I don't know for x in 1 to 10. I don't know if this is possible in Python. Is this even possible? Is this possible in Python? I don't know. Print x. I don't know if this is possible. I'm just trying my luck here. This is not possible. So let's say a list from name, class. So this is a list here. So like in Python, I need to give for a for loop. I need to have a defined list. I know the size. I know the quantity. Then I just run through it. But in a while loop, I don't know how many times this is going to run. Does that make sense? Who's confused? Is that making sense? No, it's not making sense. I've lost everyone.
Please, can you for loop? Can you tell us what it does? Because I'm kind of confused with the for loop. I'm okay with the while
Okay.
loop, but with the for loop,
Okay. In the for loop, you're always looping over a what they call an iterable, something that you can iterate over. So you can do something like a set. You can iterate over a set. You can iterate over a set, over a range, over a list, over a tuple. So if you have a collection of things, then you can loop over them. But the thing about having a collection is that you already know how many things are in that collection, right? If I have a list of names, I know how many names are in the collection. If I have a range, I know the range from A to Z. If I have a tuple, I know how many items are there. So if I have a list of names, remember we had names is equal to, let me just say 1, 2, 3, 4. We have this already. Okay. So I know that there are 6 elements here. So if I loop over them, here, they are going to be printed. This is a loop. Like it knows the end game. It knows that the size is 6. But if I come to this here, it doesn't know when I'm going to enter the right password. I could run this a million times before it gets the right password. So a while loop is used when you don't know the fact when you have uncertainty, right? It's best used when you have uncertainty, uncertain. How do you spell it? Uncertainty. And then this one is used when you have certainty. I hope my spelling is right. Maybe I can ask ChatGPT. So does this make sense?
yeah, now I'm okay with it.
All right. All right. I'm sure I've lost so many people. All right. Okay, I'm getting positive response. What time is it? I don't want to, I want to be respectful of your time, so I'm going to just introduce functions and then we'll go back into details later on. You guys, I really want you guys to go and try this. Trust me, 1000%. If after all this you just forget about this thing and then come back next week, you'll not do anything. If we just do this, and then you go and then you forget about it. You're wasting your time. Like there's no need for you to come back next week if you don't go and practice on your own. Because like the only way you're going to learn to program is if you program. This is like this is like 2% of the task. This is like 1% even of the task. Everything I've learned in programming, I learned on my own. Like on my table right now, it's a total mess of hardware that I'm using to learn stuff on my own. I don't know what I'm doing. I just spent a lot of money buying nonsense. And every day I'm trying to build something out of it. And I'm using ChatGPT, I'm using every resource I have on the internet. You know, you don't need somebody to tell you. You can just go and like you ask dumb questions to ChatGPT till you have the right answers. Okay. So that's the only thing. If you want to learn programming, you have to do it. You have to like hit walls. All right, let's leave the lecture for now. Let's push it to the last day. So in a function is kind of like a block of code. So imagine that you have a robot, that you have programmed a robot. Okay. For the robot to operate, you need to have like a set of instructions, right? Like a robot has so many utilities. So what we can do is that we can give it like, for example, for you to make tea, if I ask you to make tea, that's like it's a whole problem to solve. Like that's a very, very big problem. You can break it down to so many things like maybe get sugar. And get sugar is still a big problem. It's like how do you measure sugar? Like that's the whole problem. So you see that if you have a big problem, you have to split it into like small problems to be able to solve it. Or even let's take a simple thing like log into your phone. So to log in, it means like you have to enter your password. He has to check the password. He has to like to hide it. So it changes. If you enter a password like say Derek like this, what does your phone show? It shows something like this. So there's a function to convert characters to hash to like whatever this is to stars. There is a function to compare is the password equal to the password that was stored. There's a function to like it's kind of like you have to break things into small units. Like even when you want to add two numbers, 1 plus 2, you need a function to do that. So to do that, we are going to define a function called add. So we're going to assume that we're adding two numbers. To add two numbers, you need to enter the numbers. So you need two inputs. In functions, we are going to call that arguments. So we're going to be adding x and y, and we're expecting integers. You cannot add strings, right? You can add strings, but you get it. So when you add two strings, what do you get? You get the summation of x plus y. Okay. So this is like a pre-built. This is like in your calculator, you have this, you have this. So you can also have def, you can have subtract. You receive x, you receive y, and then you say return x minus y. So now in your program, you can simply say, can you give me value 1? Let me not call it x and y again. Value 1. And this is going to be confusing. And you say int input enter first value. And then you have the same thing. But now you say enter second value. And then you say print summation. Let me just say addition z is equal to add 3 plus 3 and 2 print set, and then you say y is equal z is equal to subtract 3 2 print z. Okay, I know that this is a lot. Oh, sorry, I even messed up. I'm supposed to add value 1 here, value 2 here, value 2, and value 1. 5 2. Value. Okay, I'm going to explain to you what is going on. 5 2. Before I explain, does somebody want to try explaining what they think is happening? Who wants to try? Who wants to try? I want a wrong explanation. Can somebody give me a wrong explanation? Anybody? Should I call somebody out? Usman. Usman. Yes, Rosalia. Thank you. Can you try? Oh,
I
okay.
actually I'm still trying to understand it.
Okay, okay, all right. Rosalia wants to try. It's
Hello,
okay.
am I
It's
audible?
fine. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Do you want to try, or should we give the floor to Rosalia? Okay, I think Rosalia, can you take the floor? Let us know what you think.
Okay. Given the computer instruction that the first value is 5 and that the second
I'm
value is 3, that your x is 5 and your y is
I'm
3.
so I'm sorry, but we're not able to hear. I'm not able to hear you clearly. I don't know if I'm alone. Can you like speak a little louder?
Yes, yeah. Please, can you hear me? Can
Oh
you hear me,
yes, this
please?
is better. Yes, this is better.
Okay, so um, you've given the computer instruction that value 1 equals into enter first value. So your first value is 5. And then the value 2 is 6. And you also said that z equals add value 1 and value 6. So you add the 5 and then the 6, and that gives you 7. And then when you get to the 6, it says subtract value 1 and value 6. So you get 5 minus 3, which is 6.
Okay, so you have explained. Thank you very much for that, first of all, and thank you for attempting to. You have explained the output. However, you started from here. You started your program explaining from here, like enter first value, enter second value, which you did get to this one. But I would really like somebody to attempt explaining what this means. You had a very good try, okay, but you did not get to the core of the issue. Like, can somebody explain to me what we're doing here? Who can try? Yes, Rosie, you want to try?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm very sorry. My network. Can you ask the question again?
Okay, can you try explaining all of this, line 2 to line 7?
Okay. Yes, I'll try. So line so line 3 is so you are saying that we should add so you have assigned x as an integer, y also as an integer, and you are saying that we should add the values that we have assigned to x and y, and then return. Yeah, so return is what you are saying, that it should add x plus y, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the seat line is we are defining the subtraction arguments. So
Mm-hmm.
x as an integer, y as an integer as well. So we are saying that with the return, we are saying that x should x minus y. So yeah.
All right, thank you very much. That's on point. That's on point. So what we're saying exactly, as Rosalia started, she said, we entered, we're already good with this one. You enter the first value, you enter the second value. And what we do here is that we have predefined code. We have written code here that does exactly what um, Josie has like described, right? So this function is like it's a block of code that expects values, and those values are called arguments, or you can call them parameters. When you're defining a function, it's called arguments. So x and y here are called arguments, but value 1 and value 2 are called parameters. These are parameters. Parameters. So when you're calling your function, this is a parameter. When you're defining your function, this is an argument. Okay, so I define my function with arguments. It expects 2 arguments, integers, and then it runs some like can run like you can define whatever you want here. You can define whatever you want here. You can say printing, can say print, adding x and y. You can do the same thing here. You can do whatever I want to do inside here, and you just you run what you want to run. So you can print x exp value 1. Oh, my screen is, I have two screens, so I have to hide. Okay, good. Oh la la, error here. So what we're doing is that we have one input here, we have the second one here, and then we have you can take this value here, 5 plus 2, because we have a plus here. So you return the sum, or 5 minus 2, you return the difference, or exponential is raised to the power 5 raised to the power 2. That's why you have 25 here. So a function is just a group. It's like a collection. Does that make sense? Time is up already. But does that make sense? Any questions before I give an assignment? Okay, Rosalia says thumbs up. Josie says thumbs up. Who else? Who is confused? Ibrahima is the core. Bernardine, you joined at the end. Ransford, you've gone quiet. Felix has been mumu since the beginning. Silent. Mount zip. Felix. Okay.
I'm here. I'm paying attention. If I have any challenge, I would let you know. I would draw attention, please.
Okay. So you're just silent, low key. Can you help us to explain? Close it for us, right? Felix, do you mind closing it for us? Jackson too has been silent. Conclusion. Okay, last example. The last example I used, this exponential, Ransford, is that what you're talking about? It's just exponential is just remember the operators, right? We talked about control. We talked about, sorry, it's not here. It's in operators. There was one operator there was an operator, this one, raised to the power. This is the operator I use. X raised to the power this. Yeah, that's just it. Yeah, that's just what we used. So that is it here. So that sums it up for today. And I want you guys to I want you to use what we have done today, the while loop, the for loop, all these functions to build a calculator. So in the calculator, when I put two values, you ask me, do you want to do divide, add, raise to the power, remainder, floor division? Make the calculator as complex as possible. But I want you to use, let me copy this and share here. I'm going to answer a question, but this is the assignment. I want you guys to use all of these things to create a calculator as complex as you can imagine. Use a while loop functions, as many mathematical operators as possible, conditions, yes. Yeah, calculator. So when I enter the value, it asks me what I want to do. Do you want to print? Do you want to add, divide, subtract? All right. So the question, please, can you share the type of browser you're using? Oh, it's a Brave browser. It's called Brave. I use it because I don't have ads. If I watch YouTube, there are no ads. Even Spotify, trick. I can play Spotify music here without ads. So you should try Brave browser. Other than that, any other questions before we close? Any questions for me? Yeah, Brave. Yeah, that's the name. Okay, it's Maxwell. Yeah, yes, please, Ibrahim Rosalia. Ask your questions, please.
Rosalia, go first.
Ladies before gentlemen. Okay, Rosalia, the floor is yours.
If you see the exponential function calculated, the example is this. can you like reverse it? Like value 2
So,
before value 1.
I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear
The
you clearly.
exponential.
Oh, exponential.
Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes. Like I want you to reverse it.
To
I
reverse
want you
it.
to reverse the values.
Okay, to reverse the
Yes, like
values.
value 2 before value 1.
Okay. Let's see, it was x equals 1 and y equals, this was it, right? So we had x, 2, sorry, x, y. Can we say this? Y, x. So here we have 5 raised to the power 2. So this is 5 raised to the power 2. And here we have 2 raised to the power 5. So the first one is the base, the second one is, so if you have this, let me put it this way. If you have this, uh, if you have this x star star y, then x equal base and oh, x is the base and y is equal to the power. Is that good? I think my
Thank you so
name in
much.
the WhatsApp group. Sorry? Yes, Rosalia.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sorry? I'm really sorry. Yeah, your volume is quite down, so it's quite low. I'm not able to hear you clearly.
I said thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you too. Ibrahima,
Okay, my
I think,
question is about the VS Code. What is
mm,
it's important about, yeah, in programming?
oh, like here, I cannot save my program. All of these things, I cannot save them. In VS Code, you need to save them, right? And everything. You need to save them. You can write a bigger program. You can write like crazy things. So you need it. I think my name in the WhatsApp, like you need VS Code. VS Code is, I think Rosalia can confirm with you. Rosalia tried it today and like you can write much more complex programs. This is just like, this is a playground. This is not set up. So you have to set up your VS Code. Just watch YouTube videos and you see it all. So I think that's my name on WhatsApp. I don't know why I put that name, but that's it. It has like a picture. The profile picture is like a picture on the wall. So yeah, you can reach out to me. It's an Indian number, so it's something like +91 uh +91 8054. That's my number. It starts like that. So you guys can text. You can inbox me. I might not reply immediately. Um, I have some work I'm doing, and like sometimes I have to report. Like I have work, but I always respond. I'll respond uh, as soon as possible. All right. So any other questions, or are we good? All right. So is Maxwell still with us, or is
Yes,
out?
definitely. I'm here. I'm still here.
All
As
right.
always. Yeah, thank you very much, Baya, for today. I think it was very insightful. But I have a few comments to make. There are people who didn't indicate their full name, making it very difficult for us to know who they are. Francis and Gideon. I don't know if you registered. If you registered, it would be best you let me know your full name so that I can indicate that you attended. Yeah, for certification purposes. Because if you don't have it, then we can't do anything about it. So Francis and Gideon, if you're here, you can just write to me in the chat now. Yeah, other than that, thank you very much for joining. We'll meet next week for the last session of Python. Then March, we're going to have Excel and Access, Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Access. All right. If there is no question for me, Papa, then we'll call it a day. I'll say, have a good evening.
Okay. Shubratri. All right. Bye bye. Good night, everyone, and see you guys next
Bye-bye.
week.
Good
All right.
night.
Mm.
Ibrahima. Ciao, ciao. Yeah.